Short message today to help offset yesterday's being so long, but this has got to do with a very short story of sorts in which when I was traveling around visiting different professors, I was on my way to potentially be a professor in life. I was a PhD student, and I asked each one, like, what have you done to improve at teaching? You're an educator, professionally, that's your job. And I was actually kind of disheartened, maybe a little heartbroken, just sad about the fact that so many of these very smart people, very capable people, had the mistaken impression that whatever that came naturally to them was the best way to do it. There was very little that they had actively gone out of their way to do to try to improve what they're doing in terms of getting direct feedback, not just these little kind of survey things, but like actually communicating with students about what is and isn't working, seeing where those results are and aren't getting them, in terms of attending any sort of a teacher training, any sort of readings about processes or techniques or methodologies. It really just was a kind of do whatever came naturally and then feel like because you're doing it, you must be successful at it. And that's something that I want to chat about today, is this idea that in order to get better at something, you have to first kind of begin by acknowledging that there's a way to get better. There's a better way to get better than simply just doing more of the thing. Now, when you're new to something, obviously, you have to start somewhere, and that often begins by just making sure you're doing it at all, right? Are you getting to the gym? Are you spending time writing? Are you devoting energy to learning programming? Are you making progress on tutorials? Whatever it might be, you do have to begin by just doing the thing. But if that's where you stop, then it begins to be like someone who goes to the gym and lifts weights, but never actually increases the amount of weight being used, or the amount of repetitions, or otherwise accepts that whatever they did when they came in there and started doing it, they can just keep doing, and it just hits an immediately low plateau. And years can pass by when they will fool themselves into thinking that they're better at it and getting better at it and becoming an expert in it, purely because they've spent time doing it, but have never reflectively, consciously, deliberately asked, am I getting better at this? How do I get better at this? That's where we have to begin to realize that in order to really improve our skills, improve our positioning, move ourselves ahead in life, it's not enough to just spend time doing it. Again, that's a starting point. That's a good place to start. But thereafter, you got to figure out that really there's a lot of value you can only get from communicating with other experienced people. People have also had some different trial and error from you. From getting direct feedback from whoever your audience is, in one form or another. From going out of the way to realize that there's a structured process in many cases, that just because you've learned some things about trial and error doesn't mean you should short circuit an actual structured means of learning. Right? I mean, it's like when we see on television or movies this kind of joke of someone who they learned how to fight just from scrapping on the streets or whatever. And we all kind of know that that's not really any sort of means of disciplined, drilled, practiced, experienced, capable, ready on a reflex to handle situations, because it's sloppy, because it's all over the place, because there's no rhyme or reason to it, there's no coherence to it. It is pure mess, right? And you don't want to be that version of a game developer, writer, whatever it is, artist, whatever it is you're into doing, business person for that matter. It's to recognize that there are reasons why we've been able to embody many generations of knowledge into the processes that we train, into the systems that we use to teach, and that even if someone comes in pretty capable of defending themselves, they still don't skip white belt and just go straight to black belt. They might get through it faster, they might get through it easier, but there's still a progression there for a reason to make sure you're filling in the gaps. What is your trial and error missed or skipped? And the same thing goes if someone is a coach, someone is an expert, someone is a trainer, whatever it is, make sure what are those gaps that you just may have not hit from the particular path you've found that's gotten you this far. And again, it all begins with realizing that what's gotten you this far is not going to be what's going to get you to the next level after it. That's the same sort of thing, of course, we focus on again, Keto Club and through my training and all that, but this is really, as always, more general than just game development. That's the key message for today, is making sure, are you getting better at it? Have you admitted that there's a better way to get better at it? Go after and find that way, get better at it. That's it for today. Thanks for always tuning in. Have an everybody feel tomorrow.